Hello, hello. So we are here at the Antique Mall, and we have some interesting little items that came out of Kristen's first. What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Anyway, we wanted to talk a little bit more about them, and it's something that we all, well, most of us have loved, baby dolls.
Right. Aw.
So
Love our baby dolls.
we do, and still, and yeah. So we're gonna talk about these little dudes that she found. So I'm gonna flip the camera a minute, if I can. Sometimes I'm technically. And we're back.
Yay.
So we got these two little buddies, and you can look at them and see that there's a difference in them, right?
Oh, most definitely.
And they're what we call composition dolls. Oh, look at this poor little dudes.
I know.
Ah!
There it goes. Have an arm.
Have an arm and a hand, and look at that. So composition, they say, was made up of sawdust and glue, and then whatever other components, I guess, that they had, laying around.
Yeah.
Is basically
what they molded their little bodies into.
Yeah. Did I actually break that?
It's no.
Live on the, okay.
No, I've just been holding it together, but it's kind of like a paper mache, but thicker.
But yes, and it was more durable back then than it was porcelain or bisque. And you can see that it's a bisque, which bisque is porcelain, just it doesn't have a glossy finish.
Yes, and the features are supposed to be more along the lines of your skin tones.
Yes, and very, you can see matted, not shiny.
Look at that poor little toe. There's no toe. Look how this baby was loved.
A lot.
A lot.
And so this composition was 1800s.
Right. Can you imagine? I mean, what this baby doll, I can't believe it's here today to tell the story.
Yeah. And so pull that arm out again a little bit.
Yeah, and you can see, I can't believe this hasn't rotted.
Yeah, and most of the time they do, but there are doll shops or people that can repair that. But look at that. You think about what we give kids nowadays, or how they treat stuff. It's look at this. And that's how the whole entire structure was pretty well. The legs, they're all...
Yeah, all the jointed areas, yeah.
Yeah. And the head, getting back to the bisque head, does it lift up a little bit? Yeah. So you can see that, too, is on that same...
It's like a hook.
With that same type of material that you were showing for the arm, that it's all connected. So it probably moved very lifelike when, don't you think?
Yes, you can just imagine how it moved. And yeah, this is just all stretched out in there, but otherwise, it's amazing how this doll has held up from the 1800s. And the hair, it feels real.
And looks real. And I'm sure from the 1800s, I'm sure it is real. I would bet my right pinky toe on it.
And oh, be careful. She losing
almost looks, this looks like a man bun tucked inside.
Right? I wonder what that was for. Extra little
in case a kid cut it, or maybe, I don't know, but
I don't know either. And this looks like gauze and, dried glue, but it totally looks like, and there's the stitching.
Yeah, it has to be definitely real hair. And look, they must have glued it onto the head.
Oh yeah, you can see here. You can see down in there.
Oh my gosh, that is the camera focus.
And look, you can even see the eye, the eyeball parts.
Oh, yeah.
And
let's zoom in. Yeah, that's now when you laid his head back. Oh well, look, you didn't move his body, but his head did a 360. How? And then on the back of this one, it has a 28, which most of the time they put a defining number or the company name or some kind of trademark. They didn't call it trademark. Some kind of proprietor stamp on either the neck, the shoulders, the bottom of the foot.
Yeah.
That type of thing. But
I don't see anything on the
I
bottom.
don't either. I think that 28
I
must
was
be.
just wondering if they matched the number up. You know, since the head is different than the body, if they, you know, if the body is numbered somewhere separate so they could match. But
But
no,
you know,
I
back
don't
then they
see-
probably didn't have a huge variety. It was probably like one, like this was their one and done, D-U-N.
D-U-N
and
done.
done. Yeah, it was probably their one and done, and they used it and just sold, you know, because they didn't have what we have now. You know, you didn't have that variety and option. And another, when you lay him down, does his eyes close or not?
Oh, they do.
Check that out, guys. Like, yeah,
Right.
so you have him laying and then stand him up or sit him up. Hello. Good night.
Yeah.
It's funny how, like, we start out like that in life and then we end up like that at night. We're like, you sit down for 5 seconds and your eyelids go back.
Exactly. It's been a long day.
It's been a long day.
But isn't it amazing how they connected all of that?
Yeah, can you tilt it back and let me see it so we can see if that mechanism...
Oh, like this?
Yeah, if I can see what it does when it lays its head back.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? If it shows, like his eyes. So the mechanism really doesn't move that much
No.
for the eyes. That's fascinating that somebody invented that. That's so cool. And another thing I want to point out, which is probably a little bit risque on here too, or did you want to say something about his eyes?
Well, I wonder if they're glass.
You know what? They sure do look like it, don't they?
They do. Oh,
So
that baby
cute.
wants to be happy.
Yes, and the detail. I bet they are glass, and I bet it was all hand painted because think about it, they didn't have mass production in the 1800s.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
So somebody sat there and looked to give the cheeks that rosy, yes, and those eyebrows and eyelashes and
Lifelike colors.
oh my gosh, so detailed. And another thing I was going to say about pointing out, and the fingers were, look at this, all the detail. But I want to point out, like, nowadays people get all bent out of shape about so many things, but this was a baby doll sold to probably thousands back then. And it's like there's no defining, you know, body parts anywhere. And kids still knew it was their baby doll. And they knew if it was a baby boy or baby girl. They didn't need to see anything. You can see they didn't need to see that for them to love it and to know. And why, like, how did we get so messed up with that? I don't know. But
Right?
I think that this is just an amazing piece of history
It is.
that they have. And even the neck, like, I just see, like, my nieces and nephews manhandling their toys, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I would never think about giving them a bisque or porcelain doll.
Right.
You know, it's like, oh my gosh.
But you know, I feel like even when I was a kid, I just wanted, I don't know, I wanted my dolls to, they all had their place. They all had, like, I wanted them to, they were like real to me.
Yes.
So I think as time has gone on and it's a whole different era, and like people say, it's a disposable society, like people are so wasteful anyway and careless and maybe too carefree. I don't know. And maybe that's the reason why things are just, you know, they don't last anymore.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, we can go out and buy a new one. Well, back then, I mean, like you said, this doll was made in the early 1800s. How, like, this was probably the baby doll
Yes.
for that child.
Yeah. And
The only baby doll.
the only for, yes, the entire livelihood of it. You're so right.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah.
So this baby had to last, and look how long it has lasted. Oh
And
my
that's
gosh.
amazing to think about. And was probably even handed down if they had siblings. And not all kids had baby dolls and toys of any kind back then. Not everyone did. I mean, think about that, you know?
And if they did, most of them were little straw made.
Right.
baby dolls, you know?
And they were so special.
Or cloth, made out of cloth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to move on to this little guy, what are we going to call him? Because we can't just, like, talk about him and not give him a name.
Let's see. What does he look like? What do you think? Is it a boy or a girl, first of all?
It's whatever you want him to be. What do you...
Let's just call him Pat.
I love it.
That's Pat.
I love it.
Pat.
So that's Pat.
Okay, that works for this baby doll. Because we're really,
Yeah,
Pat's a good name.
Pat's a good name. Thank you,
Yes.
Pat.
Okay.
Thank you for your modeling.
Oh, Pat's so sweet. I hope that Pat gets new life, new energy, a new home, someone to love it. A doll lady that wants to make Pat over.
Yes.
Yes.
Adopt Pat for its new forever home. So
That's right.
remember, everything we feature in our videos is for sale always. So
We haven't figured out a price for Pat yet, though.
no, and that was one thing I was going to talk about. Thank you for bringing that up. Usually these go for a couple $100s right now. In that condition, they go for a couple $100s to a doll collector. So condition, the brand, all these things make a difference. But if I was going to sell it and price it, and I'm not an expert.
Right.
Let me flip this here. I'm not an expert, but I've been a doll collector forever and ever.
Yes, you have.
Not since the 1800s, but maybe I was, I don't know.
In another life.
But normally these type of dolls will go for a couple $100s
Yeah.
in that condition. So, but I don't know. We're pricing stuff to sell.
Yes, move it on out,
And
right?
adopt.
Give it to somebody that is going to just love it. Like I said, give it new energy and life and enjoy it. I don't even know. I mean, I remember not too many years ago, but I guess it has been probably more like 30 years ago.
That was yesterday, yes.
There were plentiful people that were like true doll collectors that would take old dolls like these, and if they were in bad condition, like my mom sought those people out. She had, they would redo hair. They would
It's true.
redo, like if anything needed to be redone, there were people out there to do it. I don't even know if there's people out there anymore to do such things.
Yeah, I would say there are. It's probably, for that era of dolls, it's probably a dying art and breed.
Lost, yeah.
Yeah, but I would say that there still are. But yeah, so if you do that, put it in our comments, let us know. Or if you know people, let us know about them. We'd love to pass that along, and
Boy, you said it.
yeah.
Yeah, because as you can see, there are still dolls out there that need that sort of attention.
Need that. Yes. So we're going to get on to the next one.
Yes.
So when we were setting him down, it just came out of my mouth, and I called him Charlie. So we're going to call him Charlie.
Yes. Look how cute little Charlie is. And you could tell that we feel like Charlie's a boy, because we did do a little bit of research on this doll, or I should say Chrissy did. And she found out that there are little girls like this out there, but they have dresses on and bonnets on. And so we know for sure this little guy being in a onesie and a little boy-looking hat, he's definitely a boy. There's absolutely no way I'm going to take his clothes off. I wouldn't even know where to begin, but it's cute. He's got a little diaper on underneath. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes.
It's adorable. His little booties. And his hat is taped on.
Yes.
Look at that tape.
Wow. And the detail again. And now this is a composition doll. And these were sold at dime stores, and they were from like the 40s and 50s. And you can see they're jointed and everything. But look at, like, again, this had to be all by hand because they didn't have the mass production.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So look at him. Isn't he so adorable? And a lot of these right now are going online. Mostly probably on Etsy for around $50. Ruby Lane, I've seen they sell them. They're a little bit more expensive,
Right.
maybe 60 to 80.
Yeah, that's what it looks like online. But we're going to have Charlie for sale in the antique mall here for $28.
For only $28. So you can give Charlie a new forever home. Set him on your lap, talk to him. He can watch movies with you, go on adventures.
Yeah, we wanted to price to sell because we definitely want someone to love him.
Yes, and he's only 9.5 inches tall approximately. So you can take him in your pocket, your purse, backpack, fanny pack, and take him everywhere with you. Charlie on the go, we'll call it.
Oh, that's so cute. Charlie on the go. Oh, that's adorable.
So, yes.
I love his little flap here.
Yes, and to think, like, somebody had to hand make these outfits, and they were sold in dime stores. And like you said, the girls had dresses, and we are assuming he's a little boy because of the outfit is different than the dresses.
Right.
So to think that there were employees that made these by hand, you know what I mean? Like, just the love and the attention to detail. And I have hopes that someday we're going to get back to that kind of craftsmanship and creativity and love of everything that's made or repurposed. And I would love to see people just to repurpose everything that already exists is more than enough.
Right.
So, yeah. So if you're interested in these dolls or any others, you know, check out or stay tuned to us and check out our site. And hopefully you learned a little bit about composition dolls.
Yes. Thank you.